Youorns. Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the youorns 10-minute take on Watford 0, Blackburn 1. On a Sunday afternoon kickoff at the Vic, Watford were not at the races in the first half of the game, not moving the ball quickly enough against a Blackburn Rovers side that hadn't won at the Vic in 23 years. Well, that changed today as it was a smash and grab operation from the visiting team. A Watford side today who were, as advertised, a team that had worked very hard in training during the week, a team that, as advertised, were waiting to unveil their new number 9, Mr. Rajovic. And Rajovic, I thought, was not bad for someone who had just come in from Sweden, playing football there. His first touch eluded him on one or two occasions, but it is very early. It's a very small sample size, and I do think he'll start to score. But there were no goals today for Watford for the third game running, and that now means well over 300 championship minutes without a goal scored for Watford. That would be a massive concern to any Watford supporter. And even after just 4 games, it is a huge concern. That is undeniable. Even after just 4 games, that is not a good sign, at least in the early going. And I trust that that will change in the next few games. Watford are not going to fail to score for the remainder of the season. I certainly think that in the next game or so, you will see a goal from Watford. And we'll also need to see 3 points off the back of that as well. But you've got to score first if you want 3 points, to have a chance at 3 points, because you're not going to get them the way Watford tried to get them today. Stagnant ball movement, not enough movement off the ball from Watford players, not moving to find space for each other. And that's why the game got bogged down. And that's why the passing game got bogged down. The passing, not crisp, not sharp, not fluid enough, not quickly enough. And after making early use of the width of the pitch, Watford did not stick to that game plan, and they reverted back to playing a cautious and stagnant football game in that first half. And still, they should have scored. Martins had a really good opportunity, but he hit the crossbar with it. A great shot from him. And Bio was in on goal. Fantastic shot from Bio, but it was excellently blocked by a Rovers defender. It's not that Bio doesn't work hard. He does. It's just hard luck at the minute for him. Can't find the back of the net. And Rajovic came in the second half for Watford to give the Hornets a chance, but his first touch eluded him on a couple of possessions. But you can see he runs into space well, and he finds space well, and he now has to just finish that off. It will happen, but the story of this season so far, even after just 4 games, is the lack of finishing, is the lack of the final quality ball, that final pass. Despite the first game of the season, that first half of the season where they were so good, where it all clicked perfectly, the rest of the halves since then have not been great. Now, look, you've got to exclude the Plymouth game from that because they were exceptional against Plymouth, but they just, again, had the same problem of failing to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, in this game, the goal that Blackburn scored was a goal that was really well taken by the Blackburn player, but it was a breakdown in defense. As far as Wes Hoot was concerned, this was his first poor game so far of the season, his first one, where he did not do the things you have to do in open space to try to close down that player. I don't think he put enough pressure on the player to prevent that goal from being scored. And Bachmann, I think, should do better at such a narrow angle, but he did get beat at his near post. That is not good either. But look, credit to Blackburn. They did the smash and grab operation, and it worked. Blackburn were under par for me. I did not see them playing very well throughout this game, but yet they came away with 3 points because they worked smarter in the end than we did. We had 24 shots, only 4 on target. We had 65% of the possession. We worked hard, but we didn't work smart. That's the Watford story today. It's been the Watford story in a number of games this season, and we have to be more efficient at what we are doing when we get in front of goal. We've got to put the ball in the back of the net. The thing that would worry me about this side, and it is early doors, so I'm not panicking, but the lack of goals would worry me, obviously. But also what would really worry me now as a Watford supporter, one thing I'm very concerned about is the lack of leadership on the pitch in these games. Who is the leader on the pitch in these games? because Daniel Backman may be the captain, but there's a big difference between being a captain and being a leader. And that's the thing that Watford are missing right now on the pitch, as well as the obvious things about mentality and that final ball and that ball in the back of the net. Leadership is missing on the pitch. Imran Loser right now, I wouldn't call him a leader. If he has now been late twice for training in the last week, that's not leadership. And he sat for the first half as a penalty in that case. And he played in the second half not too well. So where is the leadership on the pitch? Is Daniel Backman the leader of the team? He's the captain of the team, but is he the leader of the team? I don't know what goes on in the dressing room in terms of leadership, but I can tell you that there was no leader on that pitch today for Watford, and that's something that you need to get right. Someone who can pull the troops together, marshal the lads together and say, hey, look, right, this is what we're going to do. Let's get out there and give it our all. Something that Watford didn't do in that first half. There's been a theme the last couple of games with these first halves. Not good enough, stagnant, no ball movement, not enough energy. Saw that against Stoke the previous week. And then when we start the second halves of these games, we see the same thing. A good start from Watford in the second halves of these games, robust start. And then the opposition scores a goal. And then our heads drop again. And we never quite get back to where we really need to be, despite having some chances after that. Happened against Stoke, started the first 5 minutes of the second half really well, but we got hit with that sucker punch in that game, never recovered. Same thing today. Started the second half really well, got hit later on in the half with that sucker punch, that counter punch, never really recovered. Although we did put some chances together, it's that final end product, that final end pass, that final ball, that final shot that gets past the goalkeeper. That's been missing, and that's what we need. Now, look, we still have a transfer window that's coming. That will be coming next Friday, September the 1st, and that's, of course, where we'll all be looking to see what Watford do, and I still think they'll bring some players in, but where will they come from? We will find out about that. And don't forget, we're still looking at a new manager, and hopefully he will stay a new manager and not be sacked after the international break or during it. Note to Gino. And we still have to get used to this system. It will still take a few more games. I think that when you get to game number 10 or game number 15, that's the time to really start to make assessments about where Watford are. Roughly that third of the way mark through a season. That's when I think you really begin to make these assessments. But so far, the assessments are rather bleak. After these now 7 halves without a score from Watford, that is a very big concern. And that has to be addressed. And the mentality has to be addressed. Again, the performance needs to improve in these first halves of games. And look, the bad habits have got to go as well. Still, early doors, no real concerns except for the lack of goals and the lack of end product. That needs to be rectified, and very soon. Coventry up next. That's next Saturday. Now Watford are left to lick their wounds until then. This has been the YouOrns 10-minute take.